How you doing, everybody? Arcader Zero here with another look at the role-playing game Prowlers and Paragons, superhero role-playing game. I've been reading this straight for like 2 weeks, and I really, really like it. And I've played almost every single superhero role-playing game under the sun, from villains, vigilantes, champions, DC heroes, Marvel, the old TSR Marvel, all the other iterations of Marvel, Super Babes, heroes and heroines, H and H. You always got to have two letters side by side: D and D, V and V, B and P, H and H. I think that harkens back to Stanley when he used to name a lot of his characters with the same letters for the first and last name: Peter Parker, Reed Richards. Um, I guess it makes kind of sense like that. I don't know, but anyway, this I've been reading this constantly, and there are some things in this book it does really well. First of all, I think it borrows from best aspects of older role playing games, such as Mutants and Masterminds. It actually has random tables in here, like from V and V, which is pretty cool. Not as detailed as V and V, but they're in there, which is kind of cool for people like me who like random tables. They do so many things well where other games have kind of faltered. And an example of that might be the gadgetry rules. Like I remember in DC Heroes, if you built a flashlight, I can't remember how many APs it cost, but the financial cost, it was like, I don't know, like $2,000 to build a flashlight. It was ridiculous. But they just have like the mundane gadgets and stuff like that in here. And they have rules where you can build your super gadgets, your teleportation ring or whatever it might be. And it all makes sense. They did it extremely well. Some of the things I want to highlight in this book that they do very well. And I'm not going to really speak upon playing it because I actually haven't played it yet. I got to find a group. I'll get a group together soon. But let's see. If you're playing a low level campaign, they put in this section. Can you see that? I'm all turned around here. Specialty. Okay. It costs 0 points. And it's only for when you're playing a low level campaign. It gives your character something that makes it stand out against everybody else. You might be an acrobat. You might be a striker. You might be a face, somebody who's good with charm, and like the guy from the A-Team. And it kind of simulates the low level really well and makes your character stand out really well, which I think is pretty cool. The other thing that I wanted to touch upon, talked about gadgetry. Gadgets done right. Oh look, here are the random archetypes. I don't know how you say that. I used to just say archetypes, but that's in here. Random sources is in here, so you can totally just generate a random strange character. Let's see. I'm going all the way to the back. It has a nice section of like extras, like ninjas, soldiers, spies, zombies, that kind of thing. But one thing in here that is genius that I don't think any other role-playing game has ever done. Where is it? It's coming up here. Is the Supermook. Okay, which is kind of like a funny word, but this was a brilliant, it's only like 2 paragraphs. But have you ever been playing and suddenly as a game master, you come up with an idea for a villain saying, oh, this would be really great to just throw a villain in here. But you didn't make him up yet. You don't have his stats. You don't have his powers and abilities. I'm hitting the thing. I'm making the camera shake. Sorry. I don't want to make anybody sick. But you don't have his abilities or anything, but you've got the idea, and it would make sense in the flow of the story you're telling. This is a rule for that, the Supermook. And basically what it does, it gives you a rule to generate on the fly, very quickly, a villain. And I mean quickly. I mean like within seconds. You can have him statted out with a threat level and everything else. And then, like in between sessions, you can go and fill in the rest of his character sheet. Flesh him out with all the ideas that you had on the fly while doing the game. And I haven't really seen any other role playing games do this, or at least do it so well. I can't recall of anyone doing it, but um, the Supermook, and it says if you find yourself in a pinch as a GM and don't have the stat block you need for a particular enemy, you can always use what we like to call Supermooks. Uh, Simple characters you can create on the fly, and then it goes around and tells you how to do it, and you can do it within seconds, and it makes sense. Your players probably wouldn't know the difference, but this is fantastic. I can't rave enough about that little 2 paragraphs. When I read it, I was like, "Holy crap! I love that. I think that's great." Um, Everything in here they've seemed to pull from the best, and where other games have kind of faltered, whether it being too complex with math, when you're trying to figure out a point buy with discounts and factor costs and everything else, they simplified all that. Even though this is a point buy system, it's very simple. It's usually a 1-for-1 or 2-for-1 spend, and the math is very easy. It's not like, okay, let me calculate how many APs, how much this is going to cost, because it has a base cost, it has a factor cost. Or one of the worst point buying systems, and I had it, was Mechton. It was an Artalsaurian giant robot anime game. When they came out with the was it the extended rules for the builds for Mecha, I had no idea. I mean, I could build what I want, tally up the cost, but I had no idea of a starting point on that. And then tallying up that cost was insane, especially if you're scaling the mecha. It was, from doing like a little motorcycle sized mecha to, giant robots, or, even bigger than that. But it was crazy. The math in this is extremely easy. The play in it, there's so much room for like cinematic expression in here. The cinematic rules, as I like to call it, or somebody else calls it. I don't know, but it's great because it gives the players a lot of freedom to say, okay, well, my power should be able to do this. And in a rules, GM would be like, well, did you buy that up front? You could basically argue it, okay, it should work like this, and I agree to that. Okay, go ahead and do it. But there are still rules. But it has that great balance. Once again, Prowlers and Paragons. I highly recommend it. I think it's a great superhero game. As I get more and more into it, I might go into a little bit more of the rules and the esoterics of it as I go along. Do you have any experience playing this or running it, or do you have the book? What do you think? Let me know down below. Link and subscribe. Hey, you guys like my shirt? Yeah, I'm on my way to work at the Millennium Falcon today. I do that like 3 nights a week, work over at the Millennium Falcon, because it's cool and I'm a geek. Anyway, I hope everybody's doing well. Happy Labor Day. Bye.